Commissioner, we're here on stage, probably the only time I'll ever be on stage, of the most cultured center in Clark County. Everything from desert demonstration gardens, skateboarding, arts, food, music, the Friends of Winchester, hoops, water feature for kids, and a brand new dance room. This really is a true community gym.
It is, and we have the Friends of Winchester, which was established long before I became county commissioner, and they develop a 5-year plan and review it every year. They have neighborhood people that come in. They really do a good job of planning, fundraising. They hold their little cocktail hour out in the back garden area. We've planted trees after neighbors here that have passed away just in their name, just because they've been involved here. My husband and I came. We do a lot of live jazz here. We're jazz fans, and so we were here when Frank Marino came and performed and actually did classical with the Las Vegas band. It was absolutely incredible. So I think we need to promote more of the cultural activities in Las Vegas, no matter if it's what district it's in, and try to bring not only just more public art, but also the cultural side. We have a little art gallery here where we try to feature local artists. You'll see that Ann Parente is coming to sing. We've got a variety of different people that are performing. My neighbor performed here one day, and I didn't even know she was a jazz singer until by accident. So, you know, that's what you want, and so we want to make sure we preserve this and build this, but also really look. One of my ultimate goals would be to see if we could put together a multicultural center in Clark County. We're one of the largest areas without a multicultural center, where you can have different ethnicities come. They have a room for their own meetings, but they have performing areas. They have ways to teach dance and language still to their kids so that they don't lose that cultural side of it. I think that would be a huge win-win. So that's something still that I would love to be able to bring about.
And of course, this is the only indoor stage that we have in any of our county facilities.
Exactly, exactly. The only indoor stage. And we could upgrade, we need to, but I have to find financing for it.
One of the most recent addition here was the new dance studio down at the other end here, and I know that wasn't easy to get done, but yet at the same time, there's people tapping and using that thing all the time.
All the time. You don't even want to know how many people I run into whose kids have gone through this. We have the Star Catchers. A couple of years ago, they actually went to LA, and they were in the top 3 in the nation for their dance performances. You want things for kids to do that are healthy and cultural and where parents know they're safe, but they're also building their souls. It's lifelong learning in a different way, and so the dance studio was one of their top priorities, and we were able to get the funding for that.
And it's spread out into the community here with public art projects in and around this neighborhood through the ZAP project, and also I know you've also spearheaded a number of murals painted on some of the walls and some of the washes nearby.
Correct. Along the Flamingo Arroyo Wash, we started that actually with Tony, who's a teacher in the school district, but he formed a nonprofit called Monkey Gym. We also use the Summer Business Institute kids, and we try to do tasteful cultural things, but the walls aren't being tagged, and that was one thing that we were constantly having to spend money. So we said, let's come up with a design that fits the flow of water. The kids really did a great job. It's graffiti coated. In fact, on the other side of the wash, HOA was so thrilled with it, they asked them to do their walls. So that's the trigger part. We did the ZAP project. We're going to do one actually in Desert Breeze now that we have Clark County has its public funding program in place. We just hired a staff person, Denise Duart, who will be handling that part of it. In addition, we have right next door to the Winchester Center, we're actually doing a neighborhood cleanup, but also a neighborhood pride project where we're going to redo the front of a home's architecture, landscape, and then have local artists develop something that fits that yard. Crossings Church has adopted it, so they're going to come in October, and we're going to do one day of changing that out so we can show the neighborhood that there are ways where we can come together and help them do desert landscaping, save water, beautify their property, and include public art all at the same time.
Things like that spearheaded by the Friends of Winchester.
Absolutely.
And the folks here?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Another fantastic east side, well-utilized neighborhood community centers is Parkdale, a few miles away from here, and that place has been jam-packed to the seams ever since we've ever seen that, and a lot of improvements going on there.
Ton of improvements. We met with a lot of seniors use that Parkdale Center, and so I go there and do meetings every once in a while, and we just kind of talk about what's going on. We have a total remodel project going on. It will be absolutely phenomenal. They were actually out of space, and so they wanted some computer centers, and we did a climbing wall for the kids, and just beautify it, bring it up, lighten it up, and make it still historical for that area because it's one of the older ones, and it needed a facelift. So we've expanded it, and there's back in the park area, there'll be benches where people can bring their families and have picnics, so it'll be a true community center, even though it was always intended to be one. And then you've got the pool right next door, which is well used during the summertime by the kids as well.
Should be open by early early 2014, I believe?
2014, that's right.
Excellent. The Desert Rose Golf Course. I know a bunch of us golfers are mourning the loss of the rose, but it's going to bloom again here in a year and a half or so. Obviously, there were some devastating and deadly storms that happened last year that washed away a lot of the area there in Winterwood and around Desert Rose. So this was something we really needed to do. Tell us why,
Absolutely,
Commissioner.
really needed to do it. It's number one, it's the last green space. It's the only county-owned golf course. A commitment had been made by my predecessor, Myrna Williams, as well as myself, to the people that live around there that we would keep it a golf course. That said, with the flooding last August and then in September, it got hit very badly, and so it destroyed a great deal of the golf course, but also a lot of the homes and the properties got flooded out. So actually, prior to that happening, I'm now on the flood control board, and we were reviewing our plans, and I brought up that was really an area where you have the convergence of two washes, unlike any place else in town, and that we would really, because funding, we were saving money because unfortunately construction had gone down, but you were saving money on rebar and concrete and all the other pieces, and we had some additional revenue. So the staff agreed. They went in and looked at the plan, they updated the plan, and they moved us from a 10-year plan to a 5-year, but we're actually fast tracking that. So because of then 3 months later the flooding occurred. That doesn't help these folks right now. We've been praying every time we've had the monsoons now this last week. So far, nothing has overflowed into anybody's yards. Las Vegas Paving was selected through the RFP process. They will be removing tons of dirt. We have a stakeholders committee. In fact, they're meeting as we speak today. We're trying to keep the neighborhood and the golfers apprised of everything. So they look at the design plans, they meet with the design architect. The people that live in the area are reviewing the plans because they said they wanted to keep it a natural wash. So there'll only be concrete in the very bottom liner, just enough to help with the flow, and everything will go back to natural, but we can take out the invasive species that came in, and you'll actually lower the golf course. Jane Pike from Parks and Rec, the golf course clubhouse really needs a facelift. So if you're redoing 18 holes and you're not going to redo your club, and then the sales property has been closed for over a year and a half because of bad roof. They're actually going to Arizona to look at a couple different projects that they use the bones of the old club and then came up with ADA, better plumbing. So far we're told the electrical and everything else is still in very good shape. So it's mostly the plumbing, but it's not ADA compatible. The neighbors would love to have a cafe where they really could go in, have a place that they interact with each other like National Golf Course does. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is finding the funding next for that part of it, so that as you get a new golf course, you hopefully get a new clubhouse too.
And the flood control project will obviously be, sure.
Yes.
And even they say that some of the agricultural assets, i.e. trees, are being saved obviously because there is some mature landscaping there.
Mature landscaping, and that was a concern again of the neighborhood. So we tried to incorporate as many of the trees that we currently have. And in fact, the designer of the course did a really good job. He even moved parts of it so that they don't have the houses hit with golf balls as much as they have been. So that was another thing that came up as an issue. But really in the long run, it's the life safety part of it. And then that's what I'm so happy that the Flood Control Board agreed to fast track that, move it forward. It's one of the quickest projects because you have to work with the federal government. The Corps of Engineers have to sign off on the plans. But the good thing is, once that's constructed, the people that were required to have to buy that very expensive, now because Congress changed it, very expensive flood insurance, they will no longer have to have that once that project is completed. So that's a double benefit: safety, no more flooding we hope, and in addition they don't have to pay out of pocket.